Hello, beautiful souls. If you're watching this video, you might be somebody who takes on more responsibility than is yours to take on. So it might look like you feel burdened by the weight of the world on your shoulders. You feel guilty if you don't take on everything all the time. You feel like the proverbial poop is going to hit the fan if you don't take control of things. And you might feel resentful, you might feel burned out. You also might not know who you are if you aren't taking care of everything all the time and everyone, even these burdens that don't belong to you. So if this is you, if you can relate to that, I'm going to talk about 7 reasons that might be contributing to that from a trauma-informed perspective, and a little bit about what you can do to release these burdens of over-responsibility. So let's take a look. Yeah, taking on too much responsibility, taking on stuff that's not yours can be draining, right? And it's not like we're seeking to do this from a conscious place. Most often or not, it's coming from somewhere unconscious. It's coming from these drivers within that we feel like we can't even control. So what are these 7 drivers that we can pinpoint today? Let's look at the first one, survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt occurs when we're little and we are perhaps in a chaotic, uncontrolled environment. This can be trauma or even natural disasters, any unsafe environment. We have to have some means to survive that. And as a child, we don't have a lot of agency in terms of moving or leaving. So it's this internalized feeling of, okay, if I'm this, then I can make everything around me safe. If I'm good enough, if I'm responsible enough, then I can make everything safe around me. Maybe that's how I can control my environment. If a sibling didn't end up surviving that, whether it's through actually not surviving it, died, or even through other absences, like through use of substances, through jail time, through other means of not being able to thrive after that environment, you might feel like it was your responsibility to prevent that. And that now, if you work hard enough to be good enough, then you can make up for that failure in you as a child or as a younger person, even though it's not true. That can be one of those drivers. So right now we're just shedding light on these drivers, and then you can figure out for you what's the right path through different tools and resources to help be kind and loving to those parts of you and then transmute them and transform them. Another source of that driver could be hypervigilance. And hypervigilance is a common response to trauma. It's where the body and the mind and the being is scanning, right, the environment to make sure it's safe because it wasn't safe originally. So your body and your nervous system is used to scanning. And one way of scanning and making sure things are under control, again, is by taking control of it. Literally taking control of everything. Being responsible for everybody and everything means that you are in control, and you can make sure, at least it appears as though you can make sure nothing bad is going to happen. If I can control it before it happens, then I can prevent it. And this isn't necessarily true, because we know that things can happen to anybody at any time. We really don't have control over those. We have control over some stuff, right? We can do reality testing, as we say. What do we actually have control over? But that's not what this is about. This is about an internalized sense that if I'm hyper vigilant and taking care of everything at all times, I can create a safe environment. And that when that's done to an extreme, you're actually creating an unsafe or unpeaceful environment in your body. And again, it's not conscious. But when we bring that to consciousness, then you have more choice and more agency as to how to move forward with that. Now let's look at the other 5. The third one is very much like the second one. It's literally needing to be in control as a means of creating a safe environment. So hypervigilance tends to be more of a nervous system response. It's your whole body is used to doing this. It's hypervigilance in the system, which means it's on alert. There's different chemicals being emitted. Being in control, number 3, is literally an act of doing and saying and creating things how you need them to be with yourself and others, so that you can predict them, particularly if you didn't have a predictable early childhood experience. So that's number 3. Number 4 is low self-esteem. And low self-esteem is very natural to experience if you were berated when you were a child, if you were neglected when you were a child, or if in any way you were made to believe that you're not worthy. You're not worthy of love, that you're not worthy of protection, that you're not worthy of goodness. And then what else are you going to internalize? If my environment didn't reflect that back to me, it must mean I'm not good enough. And maybe I can make up for my badness, my inherent badness, by doing all the things, by taking care of everything and everybody, and then I'll be good enough. And there's not enough you can do to make up for that inherent sense of badness, because it was never true. You were never wrong. You were never bad. You were always worthy. And that's the work to do, is to find your inherent worthiness within you. And then again, we can then talk about how to move forward around how that can then influence what level of responsibility you take. The fifth reason why you might have this drive is avoidance, like hypervigilance, is a very common trauma response. So there might be a part of you avoiding feeling certain things that you don't want to feel. This is super common. Avoiding feeling the sadness, the dejection, all those difficult feelings that early childhood experiences, breaches in attachment, trauma, and anxiety, all of that, those feelings that some part of you might feel like are too much to take. There might be a part of you running really hard to avoid them. And if you're constantly busy taking care of things, taking care of other people, then you don't have time to sit back and think about yourself, to feel yourself. And yet, that is where the gold is. When you do get to feel yourself and check in with yourself and discover possibly that in doing so, that these things aren't going to kill you. These big emotions, these feelings that have been avoided for a really long time, that you're actually equipped to handle them now, especially with support. And I can geek out more on that some other point, but it's a little bit of food to digest for now. The sixth contributor to this drive to take too much responsibility is external expectations. So you might literally have a bunch of people expecting you to do things. And this might actually have been a pattern since childhood. And now that pattern's being repeated. That's number 7, though. So number 6 is you literally are experiencing people telling you that it's your responsibility to do this stuff, that you have to do this. And you're a parent and you're taking care of an ailing parent and you are responsible at work and there's all these burdens on you. So you really feel like you don't have a break. It's not appropriate to not be responsible for everything all the time. And that's real. That is something that you do have to discover for yourself. How can I balance all these things? Where can I delegate? Where can I get support? Where haven't I perhaps explored getting support because I'm just so used to being asked to do things that I just am on doing mode? So that's another contributor to the driver. The final contributor, number 7, would be that pattern repetition, as we call it. And that's what I mentioned a moment ago with number 6. External expectations is that if you were expected to do this as a child or early in your life, you were expected to take care of your siblings or even your parents or everything, like you weren't even allowed to have a childhood, then you experience that as normal, as that is what life is like. That is how it's supposed to be. And you're on automatic pilot again. So later in life, you're repeating that pattern that was a childhood pattern, possibly a childhood trauma response. Often a childhood trauma response is, okay, I'm being told I have to take care of stuff. I have to take care of stuff because that's survival.Maybe you were even abused if you didn't take care of stuff. And now as an adult, that part of you that experienced those things as a child doesn't know that's over and that you have choice now. So part of the work to be able to be with and address this level of over responsibility is, as much as possible at your time and at your pace, start to discover, where am I at amongst all this? Where is me? And of course, you can do that through therapy. And in therapy, you can do beautiful inner child work and parts work so that you can discover the parts that are scared to let go of responsibility, and you can hear them deeply. And perhaps you can go to those early experiences and give your younger self what you yearned for and you needed. You needed those messages. You needed that support. And you needed to know that it's okay to be yourself. You can also get support to start incorporating mindfulness tools so that you can take some space, even if it's incremental, where you can ground your body and you can ground your mind and you can sense yourself. And you can start to get to know yourself more and discover, what does it feel like for my body? What does it feel like emotionally for me to be taking on this one thing, this one extra thing or that thing? And is this something I'm driven to do because of a sense of obligation, or is this a desire in me? Is this true to who I am? So that's a deeper journey, but you have to learn to feel yourself and then feel where you're truly a yes or a no. And then you have to have the courage and negotiate with yourself. Where is it okay to follow my yes? And where is it okay to let go of that thing that I'm not a yes to, that I'm a no to? And maybe I need to delegate. Maybe I need to get support in learning how to communicate. So there's a lot of ways to approach this. You can learn communication skills and how to hold boundaries if you don't have that already in place. You can learn those mindfulness skills and get to be with your body. You can do that inner child work. You can play with expressing all this through expressive arts, which is part of what the work I do. And all of that's part of the work I do. And so I speak from experience that with my clients, this is what's been really supportive, is first seeing it, shedding a light on it, and then starting to take that journey to know themselves. Discover, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to say yes to things that I'm not a yes to. And now that I know that, now maybe I'm scared to say no, then we go there and we can speak with and play with and go deep with those parts that are scared. And then perhaps you gain the courage to speak your voice. And then you learn how to take care of your body that might get shaky when you speak your voice. There's so much richness. There's so much goodness to it. And I want you to know that you are worthy to the depths of your soul of having a life and having an experience where you don't have to carry stuff that's not yours, that you don't need that to be worthy and to be good enough, that you're already good enough the way you are. You're already inherently worthy. And this is not a life sentence. I hope this supports you as you look at, what is my role with responsibility? Where can I love myself up more? Where can I give myself a break so I don't have to feel burdened with this for the rest of my life? Yeah. All right, loves. Please subscribe if you liked this. Let's spread the word. Let's give these tools to more people and make this place and this planet a more harmonious and loving planet. Take beautiful care of yourself, from my heart to yours. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. Would you subscribe, please? It'll make the whole world a better place. Or at least yours, I hope. Thank you.